Georgia, the House of Representatives only pharmacist
Thank you.
for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank all of you for being here. Obviously, a very important subject, something that we are all concerned with. Dr. Siegel, you mentioned in your testimony that the supply of e-liquids that the youth are vaping is transforming more to the THC products. And can you elaborate on that some and tell us what you see happening here?
Yeah, so I think what's happened is that youth discovered that you can use THC in these devices. And once they discovered that, it became incredibly popular because you can't tell that someone is using it. If you're smoking pot, you can smell it. You can't do that in a school and not get caught. But you can vape THC all you want. The vapor just dissipates immediately, and nobody can tell. In addition,
I never knew that. That's one of the most disgusting smells, is the smell of marijuana that I can imagine. So, thank goodness, at least we've gotten something done about that.
So because the vaping is heating the liquid, it's not burning it. So that's why it doesn't create a smoke and you can't smell it. The other thing is that you can't look at the e-liquid and tell whether it's a nicotine e-liquid or a THC e-liquid. And so that's why this is becoming so popular, because it's discreet, nobody knows what they're doing, and they're able to get a high without actually having to risk anyone knowing that they're using an illicit substance.
Unbelievable. Can I ask you, have you read this bill? Have you reviewed this bill that was before us today?
I have.
Do you, is it your understanding that the proposed ban on flavored products would apply to just tobacco vaping products, or is it your understanding that it would also apply to CBD and to THC products?
No, just nicotine-containing tobacco products.
That's exactly right. It appalls me. I'm going to do something I don't normally do, but I'd like to ask each one of you a yes or no question, okay? Just like to ask you. First of all, I'll start with you, Mr. Myers. Do you think we had sufficient research on public safety before allowing flavored e-cigarette products to enter the market? Just yes or no. Do you think we had proper research?
No.
No. Not yet. No.
No.
All five of you said no. And yet here we are, the federal government, whether it be the FDA, and by the way, Dr. Scott Gottlieb wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal last week about the pot legalization makes vaping deadly, about just what you were talking about, Mr. Siegel, about the fact that they were using THC and how this is killing people, killing our youth. And yet here we are, in this bill in the federal government, we don't even mention THC in this bill. We mention flavored tobacco, but we don't mention THC. We don't regulate THC. I mean, it's amazing to me, and if you can't tell, this is one of my pet peeves. I'm adamantly opposed to recreational use of marijuana and just think it's awful. And here we have an example of where the inaction of the FDA, of Congress, of not reclassifying marijuana like we should so that research can be done on it. Here we have a national crisis on our hands as a result of that. Any comments?
I think that you make a great point, and I think that, as Dr. Gottlieb wrote in that op-ed, we need to reclassify marijuana so that it can be regulated, and so that we can prevent these tragic deaths from occurring. I think part of the problem is that everyone is talking about e-cigarettes, nicotine e-cigarettes, and because of that, kids have completely lost sight of the fact that the THC cartridges are the ones that are causing the death. And because of that, the public's perception is completely wrong. If you ask the public in surveys, they say that they think this is due to nicotine e-cigarettes, not THC. Very few understand that THC is even involved. I think our communications have to be a lot more specific, and rather than THC vaping being the kind of elephant in the room that nobody's talking about, I think we have to directly address that problem.
Anyone else want to comment on that? Mr. Meyer?
I just think it's important to recognize we have two separate issues. We have an e-cigarette youth epidemic.
And I'm not denying that.
And everybody, I think, agrees that we need to do something about that. issue. There's the THC issue and the lung deaths bring greater urgency to have as few kids using any of these products as possible, whatever their link is.
And I understand that. It just amazes me that we in Congress continue to ignore the fact that we need to reclassify marijuana. That federal law says that it is against the law and states are approving it. Amazing.
The gentleman's time is
I yield
expired.
back.
I think